Saving money is a big problem for most people, simply because we love spending every penny we earn. Let's check the 5 tips that will let you save lots of money each month. Now, I'll take a minute to present my 3 friends, Jack, Amy, and Mason. Jack is 25 and spends money on things he likes. He's much like most of us. He doesn't save money because he works for a job that pays him $36,000 after-tax dollars, which keeps him covered for all expenses, mortgage, car, and the new iPhone he bought not long ago. Some years later, Jack gets married and he becomes a father. Now, instead of covering only his expenses, he has to cover his child and probably his wife's expenses too. But his salary increased only 15% within the past 5 years. Now, he has to cut down his spending to be able to pay for all the necessary things. His salary keeps on increasing as life moves on, but not as much as his expenses. So Jack decides to retire after all those years, but he has saved no money and he is now forced to take on another line of work again. On the other side, Amy doesn't want to find herself in the position of Jack when she reaches his 60s, so she decides to save 10% of her income, hoping that by the time she's 65, she can stop working and enjoy her life. After 40 years, assuming that a 3% raise in income happens each year, she manages to save a total of $264,385. Of course, this cannot be much money to travel around the world and keep you for something like 20 years henceforth, but it is definitely better than Jack. Now, our third friend, Mason, who is also 25 and makes a relatively similar income, realizes that saving 10% of his income is not going to make him financially free anytime soon. And if he wants to see any significant difference, he would have to wait until he's 65. So he decides to take a different approach. He almost triples his savings from 10% of his income to 25%. Instead of just saving, he puts his money into an investment fund. Similar to his other 2 friends, he sees his income grow at an average of 3% per year. Assuming that he keeps putting only $9,000 out of his salary into investments, his income is growing every year. He saved for almost less than 10 years and now his money has grown to over $150,000. He can withdraw that money and start his business, maybe retire earlier, or he could simply continue to hold it in an investment fund and never save a single penny for the rest of his life. But that initial $150,000 savings will grow up to $4.2 million by the time he retires. So, compared with Jack and Amy, Mason can retire sooner or have a great retirement. What distinguishes Mason from these 2 is that he knows if he loses 10 years of his life now, he can spend the rest of his life as he wants. So the very first tip here is that you should know exactly why it is that you want to save in the first place. A lot of people give up and stop saving because they don't see exactly why they are saving. You don't save up for a big wedding to impress, nor do you save up to buy that new car just to have it, because immediately after you have that car, you'll go back to your previous possession and still face those financial challenges. This should be aimed at attaining financial freedom. The second tip is to pay yourself first. Take a certain portion of your income and place it within the savings account before spending every penny of it. If you do not have one, then create one. Under no condition must this money by any means be spent. Whatever goes through, this money cannot be spent anywhere but can handiest be invested. Think of it this way. A part of your taxes is a necessity, something one has to pay whether or not you want it now or not. Tip number 3 is to know your expenses. If you're not a consistent saver, then it would actually be hard to begin, especially within the first couple of months when you recognize that your savings aren't growing as fast as you'd want them to. So instead, know your expenses first. Spend the next 30 days writing down every transaction you're making so that by the end of the month, you've a detailed understanding of ways exactly you spend your money, and you may deduct your expenses in those areas that don't have a large impact on your life. For example, alternatively, by purchasing a coffee each morning, you may make that yourself and save somewhere around $50 to $70 a month. Rather than riding, use public transport to get to your job if it is more affordable, and you would possibly save another $50 to $60 there, and you might save a couple of $100 like that. Next, procrastination. Procrastination is bad, but not in this case. Usually, we get so excited when we want to buy something new right away, even if it's something we don't really need, and over time, that excitement goes away. For example, when you buy that new phone, in the first couple of days, you might still be excited about it, but then you know what happens? It just becomes normal. Why not get into the habit of waiting to buy things, especially expensive ones? You'll still end up buying all the important things you need, but there will be plenty of times when you change your mind and hold on to your cash. 5. Use cash. Whenever you buy something, try to always use cash rather than a debit card. Whether you're ordering food within the restaurant or getting something from groceries, handing over a $20 bill is much harder than swiping your credit card, simply because when you swipe your card, it appears like you're spending plenty less. Over time, you turn into an extra conscious spender, and you may buy more of what you need and less of what you want. So these are 5 tips to start saving money, and I do hope you've enjoyed this video and found something useful from it. If you've accidentally bumped into this video, subscribe for more videos like this and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.